If Domain 1 was the foundation of the PMP exam, Domain 2 is the structure built on top of it. Domain 2. Process makes up 50% of the exam. Half of every question you will face on exam day comes from this domain. 17 tasks covering how projects are planned, executed, monitored, and closed. In this video, I'll give you the complete overview, what each task covers, what the exam tests within it, and how the 17 tasks connect into a coherent picture of project execution. We covered all 14 people tasks in Domain 1. Now we start Domain 2. Let's get into it. Domain 2 covers the process side of project management, the technical and methodological skills that sit alongside the people skills of Domain 1. 50% of the exam, 17 tasks. They span the full project lifecycle, from planning, scope, schedule, cost, and risk, through executing, monitoring, and controlling, to closing the project and transferring knowledge. Domain 2 is heavily integrated with agile and hybrid approaches. PMI expects project managers to apply the right methodology for the situation, predictive, agile, or hybrid. Many Domain 2 tasks appear in both contexts on the exam. Understanding which approach applies when is one of the most tested skills in this domain. Task 1. Execute project with the urgency required to deliver business value. Projects exist to deliver value, not just outputs. This task tests whether the PM keeps the focus on value delivery, not just task completion. Task 2. Manage communications. The PM plans, executes, and monitors all project communications. The exam tests communication planning, stakeholder information needs, and choosing the right communication method for each audience. Task 3. Assess and manage risks. Risk management is continuous. Identify, analyze, plan responses, implement, and monitor. The exam tests the full risk cycle, including risk appetite, risk register, and both threats and opportunities. Task 4. Engage stakeholders. Identifying stakeholders, understanding their interests and influence, and actively managing their engagement throughout the project. Task 5. Plan and manage budget and resources. Estimating costs, managing the budget, monitoring expenditure, and managing human and physical resources. EVM formulas appear frequently in this task. Task 6. Plan and manage schedule. Defining activities, sequencing them, estimating durations, developing the schedule, and controlling it throughout execution. Critical path method and schedule compression techniques are tested here. Task 7. Plan and manage quality. Defining quality standards, planning quality assurance and control activities, and ensuring deliverables meet requirements. The exam tests the difference between quality assurance and quality control. Task 8. Plan and manage scope. Defining what is and is not included in the project, creating the WBS, and controlling scope throughout execution. Scope creep and change control are heavily tested here. Task 9. Integrate project planning activities. The PM integrates all planning outputs, scope, schedule, cost, quality, risk, communications, into a coherent project management plan. No plan element exists in isolation. Task 10. Manage project changes. Every change request goes through the change control process. Log, assess impact, submit for approval, implement only after approval. This is one of the most tested tasks in Domain 2. Task 11. Plan and manage procurement. Selecting vendors, managing contracts, and closing procurement. The exam tests procurement planning, vendor selection criteria, and contract types. Task 12. Manage project artifacts. creating, maintaining, and controlling project documents throughout the life cycle. Artifacts include the project charter, project management plan, risk register, and all other formal project documents. Task 13. Determine appropriate project methodology. Selecting predictive, agile, or hybrid approaches based on project characteristics, complexity, uncertainty, stakeholder needs, and organizational culture. Task 14. Establish project governance structure, defining roles, responsibilities, decision-making authority, and accountability structures. Who approves what, who escalates to whom, and how decisions are documented. Task 15. Manage project issues, identifying, logging, and resolving project issues, problems that have already occurred as distinct from risks which are uncertain. The issue log is the primary artifact tested in this task. Task 16. Ensure knowledge transfer for project continuity. Capturing lessons learned, documenting institutional knowledge, and ensuring that project learning is available for future projects and ongoing operations. Task 17. Plan and manage project and phase closure. Formally closing the project or phase, obtaining acceptance, archiving documents, releasing resources, and confirming that all contractual obligations are met. These two tasks are often tested together in the exam. Proper closure requires both documented knowledge transfer and formal sign-off from all relevant parties. The 17 tasks are not random. They follow the project lifecycle from start to finish. Planning tasks: scope, schedule, cost, quality, procurement, integration, governance. These establish the foundation before execution begins. Execution tasks: delivering value, communicating, engaging stakeholders, managing resources, transferring knowledge. These keep the project moving. Monitoring and control tasks: risk management, change control, artifact management, issue resolution. These keep the project on track. Closure tasks: methodology selection spans all phases and formal closure wraps the project. On the exam, knowing which phase a task belongs to tells you what actions are appropriate at each point in a scenario. Domain 2 is where agile and hybrid thinking is most heavily tested on the exam. PMI expects project managers to tailor their approach based on the situation, not to apply predictive methods to everything. Key agile concepts tested in Domain 2: sprints and iterations as execution units, backlog management as a form of scope control, velocity as a schedule metric, retrospectives as continuous improvement. Key hybrid concepts: using agile methods for uncertain or complex components while applying predictive planning to stable ones. Tailoring is explicitly tested. The exam asks you to choose the right approach for the given scenario, not to default to one methodology. Not all 17 tasks are tested equally. Based on the exam content outline, 5 tasks generate the highest question volume. Task 3. Risk management: the full risk cycle, risk appetite, threats and opportunities. Task 8. Scope: scope creep, WBS, change control. Task 10. Change management: the change control process and what happens when it is bypassed. Task 2. Communications: stakeholder information needs, communication methods, communication planning. Task 6. Schedule: CPM, schedule compression, baseline management. These 5 tasks together account for a significant proportion of Domain 2 questions. Master them and you have covered the majority of the domain's exam weight. If Domain 1 is about leading people, Domain 2 is about managing the work with discipline. Discipline: processes are followed, changes are controlled, risks are managed proactively, Documentation is maintained. There are no shortcuts in Domain 2. Adaptability. The right methodology is chosen and tailored for each situation. Agile tools are used where uncertainty is high. Predictive tools where stability allows. Value focus. Every process decision is made in service of delivering the project's intended business value, not just completing tasks on schedule. The exam consistently rewards PMs who keep value delivery at the center of every process decision. Domain 2 is large, 17 tasks across the full project lifecycle. Study it systematically, not all at once. First, understand each task in isolation. What is it testing? What are its enablers? What does the PMI correct behavior look like for this specific task? Our upcoming videos cover each task individually, the same format as Domain 1. Second, practice questions after each task. Do not wait until you have finished all 17 before testing yourself. Task-level practice builds the pattern recognition you need under exam pressure. Third, understand how tasks connect. Change control, Task 10, is triggered by scope management, Task 8. Risk management, Task 3, feeds schedule management, Task 6. The exam tests these connections with integrated scenario questions. Let's test your Domain 2 thinking with an exam-style question. Question. A project is midway through execution when a key stakeholder requests a significant addition to the project scope. The addition would deliver clear business value, but would require additional budget and time. The project sponsor verbally agrees that the addition makes sense. What should the project manager do? Option A. Implement the addition immediately since the sponsor has agreed it adds value. Option B. Ignore the request since the project scope was already baselined and approved. Option C. Log the change request, assess the impact on schedule, cost, and risk, and submit it to the Change Control Board for formal approval before implementing. Option D. Ask the team to absorb the additional work without adjusting the budget or schedule to avoid a formal change process. The correct answer is C. This is a classic Domain 2 change control scenario, one of the most tested situations in the entire exam. The change may add value. The sponsor may verbally support it. Neither of these facts bypasses the change control process. Every scope change, regardless of who requests it or how beneficial it appears, must be logged, assessed for impact, and formally approved before implementation. Why not A? Verbal sponsor agreement is not formal approval. It does not authorize implementation. Implementing without formal approval violates change control. Why not B? Ignoring a value-adding request without assessment is not the PMI answer. The correct response is to process it through change control, not dismiss it. Why not D? Absorbing scope without adjusting budget or schedule creates an unmanageable project. It hides the real cost of the change and sets the team up to fail. C is correct because it follows Domain 2's core discipline. Every change goes through the process, every time. That is your complete overview of Domain 2 process. All 17 tasks, 50% of the PMP exam. Subscribe for more PMP exam prep. Next up, Task 1. Execute project with the urgency required to deliver business value. See you in the next video.